Speaking of the Hogs, let's make them the subject of item number 5 on our AT&T SEC Country Live First and 10 list. And it may be a bad blowout loss for Arkansas against Alabama, but it wasn't very good this past Saturday either in a loss to South Carolina. And maybe this game for the Hogs can be viewed as sort of the final turning point in the career of Bret Bielema in Arkansas, because it would appear that some allies from the past are starting to kind of change their mind on him, both former players that didn't play for Bielema, former players that did play for Bielema, and maybe even some of the current players, the fathers here. Let me see if I can run through some of these on social media. First of all, you got Drew Morgan, the former receiver from last year's team, who did not tweet himself, but we can show you a little bit of his Twitter history here. And by the way, folks, y'all are favoriting some of this stuff. Now, this stuff is public record, and it shows up on other people's timeline, and then they can go check what your action's been, and you see all these tweets from Drew Morgan that he's been favoriting. You know, Morgan played for Bielema, but he's favoriting a lot of complaints about Bret Bielema right there. That's probably a bad sign, right?
Yeah, no, it's warranted, too. I understand that, you know, once you play for a coach, you feel a certain need to kind of protect that guy and understand what his philosophies are and know him as a person. But this was, let's not get this twisted backwards at any point. This was an ugly loss for Arkansas this weekend. And for a game against South Carolina that had so many questions, has not been able to find a way to rush the passer, has not been able to find an offensive playmaker, to get blown out by that many touchdowns and have 3 defensive touchdowns scored against you, it's going to be a black eye on Bielema. And you mentioned it. This could be the turning point where they lose a game like this they should have been a lot closer in, and all of a sudden everybody starts feeling like maybe this isn't the guy to lead our team.
And then you got a popular former player like Matt Jones, who was drafted as a wide receiver by the Jacksonville Jaguars, but was a quarterback when he was in Fayetteville, talking about Arkansas's offense, saying, nope, unacceptable, it's not working, 5 years below 500 winning percentage, nope. Then he tweets out, I love my Hogs, I will always bleed Razorback red. This is not it. I hate it for all the Hog fans. Coach B is not the answer. I think when a popular, you can see the retweets, the like numbers there, that's a popular ex-player saying that. Right. I think that's also one of those things that kind of pushes Bielema a little closer to being out the door, right?
Well, listen, how many times did you and I talk during the summer? The one way to really understand truly how fans are just getting the pulse of the fan base. If you really want to know how close a coach is to being fired or how many people are upset with how he's coaching, you can see it on Twitter. You can see it on Facebook. You can see kind of the outrage come to the surface from some of the fans, and you're getting that. And Matt Jones was a very good player for Arkansas. This is a guy who's probably a historical figure up in Fayetteville, and I think his opinion on these matters carries a lot of weight and becomes kind of a face for a lot of fans.
Yeah, Kevin Blackman in the comment section says that Bielema actually looks like the Hog mascot. It is funny. I know I'm not the first person to say this. As a matter of fact, I'm only saying this because I heard other people say it. But there's these moments where you see Bielema wearing with the face, and you got the Hog logo. It's amazing how much that Hog logo on his sweatshirt looks just like Bielema in the face. But to make matters worse, probably the worst tweet of all came from a guy named Randy Rogers, who's the dad of Zach Rogers, one of the Arkansas offensive linemen. We'll show you what he had to say here. He goes, I don't care how big, tall you are. If you can't block, you can't block. Then why the heck not try something different? # insane. That's the dad of a current Arkansas player essentially questioning some of the personnel decisions for Bielema there. That's as bad as it gets.
Yeah, I don't have kids, but I'm not a fan of when parents speak out like this and on behalf of their own son. Because, listen, not only is this a bad look for this program and a lot of people asking questions, but this is a bad look for him. This is a bad look for his son in the locker room. This is something, hey, what's your dad think? What are you telling your dad about who's starting in front of you? If you're, how big or tall you are, you can't block. Well, guess what? If you can't block in practice, you can't block on game day. And so This is a bad look all around. And it just, like I said, this is an ability to get a pulse of what's going on in and out of this program. And a lot of people are not happy about this game.